So in my last video, talked a little bit about the quote of the day. Now I would like to read the scripture of the day provided through the Gospel Library app. This is Isaiah chapter 58, verse 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and ye break every yoke? Now I find it interesting that this was given as the quote of the day for the first Sunday in October, as the first Sunday is usually our fast and testimony meeting. But in October, we have General Conference, and so the fast Sunday is usually held either the Sunday before, being the last Sunday of September, or the Sunday after, being the second Sunday in October. But they still gave us a quote about fasting on the first Sunday, keeping the standard form. But I will say that I like the verse. The fast will loose the bands of wickedness, undo the heavy burdens, let the oppressed go free, and break every yoke. Sounds good, but I will say that when I first read it, I was a little bit unsure of exactly why this was. So I went back, looked up the verse in the context of the chapter, and here's a few other points that the chapter makes. I think this chapter actually is now my favorite chapter when it comes to talking about fasting, because I think it really captures what fasting is supposed to be. So chapter 58 of Isaiah, this is first of all, verse 2. Yet they seek me daily and delight in to know my ways. They take delight in approaching their God. Approaching to God. But what he's actually saying here, in verse 1, he did say, tell the house of Jacob their transgression. And then he says, yet they seek me daily. So what he's saying is that they seek the outward show of the religion. They like to perform the outward ordinances, make a show that they are seeking God, but they lack the spiritual conviction. And you can see this in, in verse 3. It says, they say, wherefore have we fasted, say they, and thus seest not? Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labors. Behold, ye fast for strife and debate. And I like that. They don't lack spiritual conviction, so even though they're giving the outward signs of fasting, they're still out transacting business. They're pursuing their own pleasures, their own occupations, rather than pursuing the will of God, which is what Sunday, the Sabbath, and especially the fast is for. And that fasting for strife and debate, because they don't have no spiritual conviction, they are constantly squabbling over the fast. They're constantly irritable because they're hungry. But I love the blessings that he says. That's when you come in with the, says, is this the fast that I have chosen? And then you get verse 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen, to loose the bands of the wickedness? See, they're fasting wrong. If you do it right, this is what it's for. Is it, in verse 7, is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, when thou seest the naked, that thou cover him? See, the fast, we're not just supposed to be going hungry, we're supposed to be doing it to do the Lord's work. We give up our 2 meals so that we can give to the poor, that we can help those who have less. But I love this blessing here. Let me see if I can find it again. It says, yes, verse 8. And thy righteousness shall go before thee, and the glory of the Lord shall be thy rearward. Verse 9. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, here I am. And then verse 10. Then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. That's what fasting is about, and that's the power of the fast when it is done properly.